So I'm grateful that I have such a beautiful family. Both my parents, they have supported me, they always stand with me. And for them, I'm just their daughter. Just like as for other parents, they have a daughter, they love her, they take care of her. But then I have two younger brothers, and as usual, brothers, they're cheeky, we still fight, we still argue. And my brothers, they don't care what awards I'm winning outside and who I am, and if I'm an ambassador of something or UN Messenger of Peace. So when I won the Nobel Peace Prize and I came back to the hotel where we were staying, and my little brother started saying that, look, you have won the Nobel Peace Prize, but it does not mean you become a bossy sister. So I always wanted to get quality education, to go to a good university, and it was my dream, and now that dream has come true that I'm going to Oxford. I really worked hard for it, and I was so happy when I received the offer, and I'm excited to meet new people, to make friends, to learn. It is a great place of learning. And the goal of this mission is to empower local leaders and local activists. So we want to increase that investment and also support local advocates as well, local girl advocates. So for that we have announced $3 million, and we want to expand that group, redouble our efforts, and make sure we can reach to as many local activists as we can, because they are the real change makers in their community, and when we empower them, through them we can bring change. It also includes e-learning and other improvements in the quality of education. So it is a vast project. It covers many areas, but our main goal is to empower local leaders. So this year I went on a Girl Power trip, and I went to America, Canada, then Nigeria, Iraq, and Mexico. And in these places I met amazing and incredible girls, and I heard their inspiring stories. In Iraq I met a girl called Najla, and she was 14 years old when she was wearing her wedding dress, and she took off her high heels and she escaped from her wedding. She ran away, and later on her village was captured by the extremists ISIS, and she was actually attacked, but she did not stop, and she's still continuing her education. She's speaking out, she has survived, and she resisted all that she went through, and the things that we cannot imagine for a second. She has gone through all that, but she's still fighting for education, and she wants to be a journalist. So these are the stories that inspire me, but my aim is to bring these stories then to a global platform like the UN, and allow these girls to meet their country leaders, their local leaders, so that their voices can be raised. I'm just reminding them of their responsibilities, that they are holding the positions in which they are responsible for their people and for the future generation. And I remind them that they have to increase investment towards schooling, towards quality education. Otherwise, we will lose this future generation. This will impact not just the children, not just the girls, but all of us. So we have to invest those 130 million girls who are out of school. We have to support them, we have to stand with them, make changes in the law, and also take action. So I think men, they have to do a lot, and my father is an inspiration because his 5 sisters could not go to school. So he decided that he would allow his own daughter to go to school to get her education and then to raise her voice. When we started campaigning in Swat Valley, when terrorism started and girls' education was banned, there were many other girls who wanted to speak out, but their parents, their brothers did not allow them. My father was the one who did not stop me. We have to believe in girls, we have to believe in our sisters, in our daughters, and allow them to be who they want to be. As my father says, that you do not have to do something, just do not clip their wings. And if you do not clip their wings, just let them fly and let them achieve their dreams. So men have to come forward, they have to support women, and it's better for the whole economy. It's better for each and every one of us. It will help the economy to grow even faster. It will improve the standards of living of each and every one of us. It will improve health, and it also benefits the children, because when women are educated, they are more likely to care take care of their children and their education and their future. So I have seen a lot in my life, from terrorism, extremism, to then being attacked, and I was at a point where I had to make a decision whether I want to continue my campaign for girls' education or not. And I think I have been away from my home in Pakistan for a long time, and so going through all this situation in my life, I have learned that now surviving that attack, this life is for a purpose, and that is for the education of children. So it's only 70-80 years that we live for, and why not live it for a good purpose? Why not live it for a service that can help humanity, that can help the world? So I want to help as many girls as I can to make sure that they get quality education and achieve their dreams.
When I was about 8 years old, I first heard about something called climate change or global warming. Apparently that was something humans had created by our way of living. I was told to turn off the lights to save energy and to recycle paper to save resources. I remember thinking that it was very strange that humans, who are an animal species among others, could be capable of changing the Earth's climate. Because if we were, and if it was really happening, we wouldn't be talking about anything else. As soon as you turn on the TV, everything would be about that. Headlines, radio, newspapers. You would never read or hear about anything else, as if there was a world war going on. But no one ever talked about it. If burning fossil fuels was so bad that it threatened our very existence, how could we just continue like before? Why were there no restrictions? Why wasn't it made illegal? To me, that did not add up. It was too unreal. So when I was 11, I became ill. I fell into depression. I stopped talking, and I stopped eating. In 2 months, I lost about 10 kilos of weight. Later on, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. That basically means I only speak when I think it's necessary. Now was one of those moments. For those of us who are on the spectrum, almost everything is black or white. We aren't very good at lying, and we usually don't enjoy participating in the social game that the rest of you seem so fond of. I think in many ways that we autistic are the normal ones, and the rest of the people are pretty strange. Especially when it comes to the sustainability crisis, where everyone keeps saying that climate change is an existential threat and the most important issue of all, and yet they just carry on like before. I don't understand that, because if the emissions have to stop, then we must stop the emissions. To me, that is black or white. There are no grey areas when it comes to survival. Either we go on as a civilization or we don't. We have to change. Rich countries like Sweden need to start reducing emissions by at least 15% every year. And that is so that we can stay below a 2-degree warming target. Yet, as the IPCC have recently demonstrated, aiming instead for 1.5 degrees Celsius would significantly reduce the climate impacts. But we can only imagine what that means for reducing emissions. You would think the media and every one of our leaders would be talking about nothing else, but they never even mention it. Nor does anyone ever mention the greenhouse gases already locked in the system, nor that air pollution is hiding a warming, so that when we stop burning fossil fuels, we already have an extra level of warming perhaps as high as 0.5 to 1.1 degrees Celsius. Furthermore, does hardly anyone speak about the fact that we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction, with up to 200 species going extinct every single day. That the extinction rate is today between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than what is seen as normal. Nor does hardly anyone ever speak about the aspect of equity or climate justice, clearly stated everywhere in the Paris Agreement, which is absolutely necessary to make it work on a global scale. That means that rich countries need to get down to 0 emissions within 6 to 12 years with today's emission speed. And that is so that people in poorer countries can have a chance to heighten their standard of living by building some of the infrastructure that we have already built, such as roads, schools, hospitals, clean drinking water, electricity, and so on. Because how can we expect countries like India or Nigeria to care about the climate crisis if we, who already have everything, don't care even a second about it or our actual commitments to the Paris Agreement? So, why are we not reducing our emissions? Why are they in fact still increasing? Are we knowingly causing a mass extinction? Are we evil? No, of course not. People keep doing what they do because the vast majority doesn't have a clue about the actual consequences of our everyday life. And they don't know the rapid changes required. We all think we know, and we all think everybody knows, but we don't. Because how could we? If there really was a crisis, and if this crisis was caused by our emissions, you would at least see some signs. Not just flooded cities, tens of thousands of dead people, and whole nations leveled to piles of torn down buildings. You would see some restrictions. But no. And no one talks about it. There are no emergency meetings, no headlines, no breaking news. No one is acting as if we were in a crisis. Even most climate scientists or green politicians keep on flying around the world, eating meat and dairy. If I live to be 100, I will be alive in the year 2103. When you think about the future today, you don't think beyond the year 2050. By then, I will, in the best case, not even have lived half of my life. What happens next? The year 2078, I will celebrate my 75th birthday. If I have children or grandchildren, maybe they will spend that day with me. Maybe they will ask me about you, the people who were around back in 2018. Maybe they will ask why you didn't do anything while there still was time to act. What we do or don't do right now will affect my entire life and the lives of my children and grandchildren. What we do or don't do right now, me and my generation can't undo in the future. So when school started in August this year, I decided that this was enough. I sat myself down on the ground outside the Swedish Parliament. I school striked for the climate. Some people say that I should be in school instead. Some people say that I should study to become a climate scientist so that I can solve the climate crisis. But the climate crisis has already been solved. We already have all the facts and solutions. All we have to do is to wake up and change. And why should I be studying for a future that soon will be no more, when no one is doing anything whatsoever to save that future? And what is the point of learning facts within the school system when the most important facts given by the fine science of that same school system clearly means nothing to our politicians and our society? Some people say that Sweden is just a small country and that it doesn't matter what we do. But I think that if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school for a few weeks, imagine what we could all do together if we wanted to. Now we're almost at the end of my talk. And this is where people usually start talking about hope. Solar panels, wind power, circular economy, and so on. But I'm not going to do that. We've had 30 years of pep talking and selling positive ideas. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. Because if it would have, the emissions would have gone down by now. They haven't. And yes, we do need hope. Of course we do. But the one thing we need more than hope is action. Once we start to act, hope is everywhere. So instead of looking for hope, look for action. Then, and only then, hope will come. Today, we use 100 million barrels of oil every single day. There are no politics to change that. There are no rules to keep that oil in the ground. So we can't save the world by playing by the rules. Because the rules have to be changed. Everything needs to change. And it has to start today. Thank you.